going to see if I can communicate and play at the same time. I can't see the screen, mind you. I've been seeing, I haven't been watching the TikToks, but I've been seeing TikToks when kids doing their makeup and talking to the screen or doing silly things like that, and I thought, oh my goodness, I thought I'd try and play the drums while I was talking to you. So I'll let a few of you come in, and then I'll move the camera. By the way, this is for Instagram Live and YouTube. It's not live on YouTube, this will go on afterwards. So the competition prize today, you can't win it because it's going to be live in the show. So if you're watching this afterwards, so I'll come back in a minute and I'll have a look at what everyone's saying. I'm just playing doubles, but I'm overlapping them. I'm thinking about putting them together. Really homing in on that together. Like that. Anyway, I hope, Peyton, how are you? All the way from America. I hope you're well, Peyton. You must have finished college by now, have you? Or you must be in the middle. No, you must be in the middle of it. I think last time I met you, which would have been about, golly, 14 months ago. Zildjian Live in LA. You might have just been starting. I'm well. So have you finished, Peyton? Hi, Mike. Mike's in the house. He's another lawyer. You know what? Some of you have been brilliant. You've always been here all the time. You are excellent. Mike has always been there. How's LA today, Mike? Come on. Right, hang on. Yeah, I'm still at the freshman's. Have 3 weeks left. Okay, and then you've got, I guess, then you've got another couple of years, have you still? Peyton? Jack Hayes in the house. Where have you been, Jack? You've been quiet on social media recently, I've noticed. So like I said, they're just doubles, but I'm crossing them over. Charlotte, hi there for 5 minutes then. Getting back to teaching. No, there's no excuse, you cannot. You get your student on here as well, yeah? I will have 3 more years. So for those watching on YouTube or afterwards, when you don't see these comments coming in, I thought I'd just reply to a few people. Yes, thank you very much. It was my birthday on Saturday. And I have got, I'm going to show you in a minute, a very cool birthday present set up over the back here. The old lamps made for me. Seb, who's also been, I think, has seen every one of these shows. See, I can't multitask. Los Angeles is starting to warm up. 2 weeks of spring straight into summer. So that's Mike, and I know he's out in LA. And I love that you Californian, or I should say more LA, going south from there. Mr. Dugmore's in the house. Still in Belgium, Jeff? I love, Mike, that you know it's warming up. Trust me, when I come over to LA in January, it's always warm then. So you want to get over here in the UK and find out what it's really like to be cold. Jeff Dugmore is out in Belgium, I think, recording an album. So yeah, I do apologise. This is really tricky actually doing this and talking. I do apologise. I've been a little bit quiet. Just more become clearer later on. But things are starting to happen again, which is great. Not complaining at all about that. Let's play our pads. Well, everyone get their pads out. Yeah, that'd be cool. Look, they're just doubles. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this whole show like this though. And I'm crossing the doubles over and focusing on that. I don't want to flan. I want them as one. Yeah, which is nice because things are beginning to open up again. But I promised you all, because it's all well and good that the UK is opening up a little, and I think some parts of America are opening up. In fact, some parts of America haven't even bothered closing down, from what I hear, Florida. But I'm going to keep these going. So the shows have been a little bit tricky to sort of maintain those. And like I said, I've had other things that I've really... last week we did the masterclass, my 5th masterclass which was great. Sold out, which was excellent. And my surprise guest was Thomas Lang last week. Probably haven't heard of Thomas, you know, he's the new kid on the block. My next one actually is going to be on, I did write a date down. When's my next masterclass? 11th of May. So, while I let some more of you join in, today I'm going to give away a pair of these Zildjian professional in-ear monitors. These are retailing at about 70 or 80 pounds, okay? So I'm going to give these away today, and I'm going to give them away to the best question before the end of the show. It can be any question, but so all you need to do, you understand, is to put the question in the question mark box at the end, and the winner wins this pair of headphones at the end of the show. If you're watching this afterwards, watching it on YouTube later, unfortunately, you have to be in it to win it, so you have to be here. But don't forget, if you're watching it on YouTube, or you are watching it on Instagram afterwards, on my page, then there's still a competition going over on my site, mikedolbear.com, which is to win the Jube, which is an excellent prize. That's going to run until the end of the month, so you can still go in there and enter it. And don't, you know, people don't enter these competitions because they think they're never going to win. Someone's got to win it. I'm giving it away. I'm not keeping it. So if you want to follow it on my YouTube page, it's Drum Clips. I think it's got about 17 or 18,000 subscribers. Or go over to, there guys, there we go. Or go over to mikedolbear.com and check out for the competition. I'll put another post up here later actually with a link on that. But if you go to my website, you go over to socials, and on the drop box down, yeah, I'm losing it now. On the drop box down, you'll see the competition. Okay, so let's get going. Let's change this camera. Let's get myself into some kind of place. Let's put this snare drum back out of the way. This is my Stanton Moore Ron Dunnett titanium snare drum, which is a great snare drum. But I also want to show you this. Look at this. Okay, hang on. Can I don't know if you can flick this. Can you? Oh, you can. Okay, look at this. Okay, hang on. Yes. Oh, sorry. I apologise. Okay, so this is my birthday present from Seb, who's up here at the moment on lamps and amps, and so he got this converted, bought an old sling and a bass drum pedal, a little bit of the wood is being recycled, so it's completely recycled this, put a bulb in it, and he presented me this on my birthday, which was on Saturday, so I have to say thank you very much. Right, let's get this back up here. So, what's been going on, everybody? Like I said, I do apologise. Things are getting a little bit busy. But this week we've got a full house. So, it is a very rustic look. So, somebody's come up and they'd said, this is amazing, man. Proper rustic look. Wow. I know. He's in the house. Old lamps and stuff. If you want to buy anything from him, contact him, but obviously Seb, you need to make sure that you give me 99.9% commission. I think that's fair, okay? I think that's fair. Anyway, I've got a lot of news. Like I said, we've got a full house. Rachel, you're another one that's been in here from the beginning. I think all the Fackers are in here as well. They've been here from the beginning, so thank you very much. Like I said, I've got lots of news for you today. We've got a full house this week of shows. So tomorrow and Wednesday, so I will get to those later on in the show. Any questions, topics, please put them in the question mark box. And like I said, the best question comes in tonight, gets to win this pair of Zildjian professional in-ear monitors. So obviously you don't need to use them for monitors. If you want to just use them for listening to your music, etc., etc., or your phone, you can. But someone's got to win them. Okay. So if I have no questions in tonight, I can't pick my favourite. So if there's a good question tonight or topic, it could be a question, it could be a topic, it could be anything, then let me know. Okay. I've got in here Anne Doling, who actually I saw was playing on her new, she won a practice pad a few weeks ago, and she was playing along with that the other day, so well done. So let's get started with some drum news. Quite a lot of drum news in the house today, so I'm going to put my head down and read my notebook for a second. So Clyde Stubberfield, he would have been 78 years old yesterday. He died back in 2017, but a drummer that a lot of people should know about and check out. Clyde Stubberfield did many things, but was most well known was for being with James Brown, and all those grooves that he played were sampled and went on to be on so many modern records from Madonna, etc., etc. So go and check out Clyde Stubberfield. Any of my students know all about Clyde Stubberfield because we played many of those great James Brown grooves, Sex Machine, I Got You. You know, so many great songs there. Now, Clyde didn't play on all of them, but he played on many of them. So go and check out Clyde Stubberfield. And like I said, he would have been 78 yesterday. One funky drummer he was. That is very true. So you would have seen as well that Roland made a big announcement this week with some incredible products. All this information is up on my site, MikeDolbear.com, so you can go over and check that, or you can go over to their website. So they made lots of, so they brought out a TD50X sound module, which you can add to what you've already got. They brought out 14-inch VH 14-inch hi-hats, so proper size hi-hats. Now, you would have seen Michael Shack talking about, he couldn't actually talk about those in the show that we did, but he was insinuating what was coming, and he actually put something up the other day. Exactly, and so I'm just coming to that one as well, Brandon. The TD50KV2, which has now got larger pads and a full-size bass drum, but the big one is their new top-of-the-range kit, the VAD 706, which is a V-drum acoustic kit. So it looks like an acoustic kit, but obviously you've got all the sounds. I mean, to be honest, it's incredible. It's really pushed up that next level. I haven't had a chance, obviously, to play it yet, but I've read a lot about it, and you know, I think this is sort of a big groundbreaking moment that they've moved into that territory where they've, you know, it's a hybrid kit, but it's a drum kit, but with electronic sounds. There's a few other companies sort of doing this as well, but Roland are just sort of, like I said, full-size drums, looks like a drum kit, etc., etc. So you can go over to my website and check that out for more information and the breakdown and everything about that, or you can just go onto Roland's social media or Roland's website to find out. I've only got one question in there at the moment, so like I said, if you don't send in any questions or if you don't a topic, then you can't win. I need the best questions or topic. It could be anything. It could be a topic on, I don't know, what do I think of Mourinho getting sacked today, or whatever it might be, and the best one gets to win this. It'd be nice if it's drum related, but you know, let's see. Also, Vic Firth launched their Stay Connected program, which is a new interactive platform to help bring musicians together. You can go over to vicfirth.com to find out more information about that, or again, you can go up onto my website and there's information about that. They've already put out a track with various musicians playing on it. But go over and find out a little bit more about that information. There's quite a few new albums, but I want to pull out two. There's quite a few, I should start that again. There's quite a few new drumming solo albums out there, but I want to pull out two because one I've sort of discussed a little bit I think maybe on my running blog, and that is the new Steve Gadd Band new album. I'm a big Steve Gadd fan, and it's at the Blue Note Live. Well worth checking out. I mean, obviously you know what you're going to get with Steve, and that's exactly what you're getting. It's great, it's groovy, it's musical. But also the Dave Weckl Band has got a new album out, live in St. Louis, which is, it's actually taken from the 2019 Chesterfield Jazz Festival. And again, it's great. Really, really good album. So there's two albums by two great drummers. I don't know whichever platform you use to get your music, but check them out and have a listen to those. I discussed it already. Next masterclass, like I said, thank you for joining last Tuesday. My masterclass is always the second Tuesday of the month. I've done 5 now, I think. I always have a surprise guest, but I never tell anyone who the guest is. And normally the guest comes on with the subject matter of the chosen subject. Last week the topic was developing independence, creative independence, and Thomas Lane came along, which was great. Always very funny. I love the reaction of the people on the screen, on the Zoom screen, when I just click the button and on comes the guest. I love that. Ollie Thacker's in here at the moment. He was on it and he loved that. That was his favourite one so far. So anyway, the next one is going to be on the 11th of May. They are selling out quickly now, which is really good. So that's cool. Right, so one thing I did speak about on my last show was that Pearl were about to make an announcement on their 75th anniversary regarding products. Well, first of all, I have to say, a chance for me to drink my coffee, I have to say thank you, Pearl. I know it's the wrong way around. I do apologise, so I hope you can sort of see it. It starts here. Pearl. Okay, so they sent me a gift. The coffee was not from them, but the coffee cup was. And again, like I said, they sent me this. I know it's difficult to read because it is back to front if you're watching it on Instagram, but on YouTube it should be fine. Pearl, which is their logo that they're using for some of their drums, established in 1946. Thank you for being part of our history, and my name, and then signed by the people from Europe. And then down here, 75 years of Pearl celebrating. Now that's actually quite amazing to keep a company. Not only to keep a company going for 75 years, but to keep a company current for 75 years. If you go back and you look at some of the great drums that they've bought over the years, it is quite amazing. Always pushing the boundaries, always going forward. So I want to talk about a few bits and pieces that they've got, but to be fair, it's better off if you go over to the Pearl website, because there's so many, they've got so many new snare drums, so many new products that they brought out for this, so you're better off going to the Pearl website. But one thing that they have done is they brought out the President Series Deluxe kits, which is going to be using this new logo. Some people are saying they love it, some people are saying they don't. Like I said, if you're watching this on Instagram right now, it's going to be the wrong way around, so you can't relate to it. But they're trying to do a throwback to some of the earlier kits with the thinner plywood, which is still very, very popular drums for recording. And I know that they were saying that there was quite a big high demand on eBay, etc., for people to get hold of those woods. And so they decided to re-release them with better hardware. So for those that know about this, the biggest problem that some of the older vintage drums have was the hardware wasn't so good. When I mean the hardware, I'm talking about snare mechanisms, tension rods, nut boxes, stands, bass drum things, etc., etc. So that's come on so much that they decided they're going to go back to some vintage colours, try and bring in more of a vintage logo for it, vintage badge, but replace all the hardware with some better throw-offs, etc., etc. Kevin, who is there, I can't remember his exact title, but basically he designs their drums, etc., etc. I've known Kevin for a long, long time. He's been at Ludwig. Really, really knows his stuff, and he's done they've done an amazing job. So go and check that out, especially obviously if you're into the old Pearl drums, because now they're bringing them out. They're called the President range. I know they've got some in the UK. I think they should be in the UK very, very soon as well, so you can check out your local dealers. Right, so, oh no, I can't tell you about the guests yet. One more bit of news. So ProMark have brought out a new signature Carter McLean signature stick. And I did see today that Carter's also just signed to Evans drumheads as well. So, I've got some questions. I'm going to drink a bit more coffee, like I said. Don't forget, best question or best topic or anything you want to talk about today gets to win this pair of Zildjian Professional in-ear monitors worth about $100, or about £60 free of charge. Right, what we got? Oh, we got a lot. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, well look, I can't believe that 3 people have sent in the same question. Okay, and I am going to answer this question, although it might not be relevant to everybody. But okay, so Ollie and Alfie have both asked the same question, and they've said opinions on the Super League. Honest opinion, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's all BS. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think anybody will let that happen. I don't think players will let it happen. I don't think. I think it's a bargaining tool to get their own way with other things. But there's the reason I have read that question out, and I think is quite interesting, is it also just shows now this power of money. You know, how we cannot let that get away with us. How, you know, I think if anything we've learned in the last 13 months, it's people have said that a lot of people have struggled, especially in my industry, especially in the music industry, with money, big time, and hundreds and hundreds of sad stories. So lots and lots of people have struggled, but one of the things they have said is it's been so nice to be able to spend more time with their family, do more quality things, etc, etc, etc. So my point being, and one of the reasons I thought I would bring that up, is that we mustn't let money rule our minds. You know, at the end of the day, there was a great album. In fact, if Jeff Dugmore's still on it, he played on it, and it was from an album called Giant Leap. Incredible album. Jeff Dugmore's on the album, but it starts with one of the sayings, and it said, they asked an old person on his deathbed about what he regrets. And he said he regrets that he chased money for a bigger house or a nicer car, etc, etc, and he didn't spend more time with his family and doing the nicer things in life. There's your answer to that, opinions on the Super League. Money shouldn't rule our lives. Right, what's next? Oh God, we got a bit heavy then, didn't we? Okay, so... right, so drum company who have had the biggest effect. Oh, Ollie, the drum company who have had the biggest effect on the drum industry. Wow. Well, obviously this is personal. I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. Bear with me a second. In fact, I'm going to pull you in a bit closer to me. That is a very good question, and actually it's a very difficult question to answer. Well, I guess it depends whether you're talking about modern day or whether you're talking about the evolution of the drum kit, which is only 100 years old, 110 years old now, I suppose. But anyway, because you must say that the companies at the beginning, like Ludwig and that, they were the ones that made big differences from taking the drum kit, i.e. the hi-hat. You know, from going a low hat, which is what it used to be called, cymbals would be down on the floor. You know, the invention of the bass drum pedal. We never had a bass drum pedal. The first drummers that started sitting. So when the first drummer, it's almost again like today, and it almost relates to what we just talked about with the new league they're talking about. So there would have been 3 or 4 drummers back in the 1800s playing. You know, you'd have someone on the snare drum, someone hitting the bass drum, someone hitting the cymbals. But as they started cutting down and couldn't afford all those drummers, obviously they said, right, drummer, you're going to have to do everything now. And the first drummers used to kick the bass drum. You know, literally kick the bass drum to play that. So you had the invention of the bass drum pedal. So it has to be the Ludwigs, the Slingerlands, the Rogers, the Leedies, the Gretsch. You know, they probably were the first ones that made the biggest impact on the drum kit, and it made it into what it is today. And then I think as years come along, all the other companies came along and they started making the bass drum better, bass drum pedal better, or they were finding better woods to make drums out of, or etc, etc. So without being a cop-out, I would say that probably most drum companies have made a big impact. Because if they're not making an impact, there is no reason for the drum company to be there. But you've got to go back to the Ludwigs, the Slingerlands, the Leedies, etc., etc. I think my phone's going mental tonight. I keep getting messages in there, loads of them, so I keep trying to get them up. So there you go. That's a good question, actually, Ollie. I like that question. Okay, so who else have we got? Right, so we've done that one. Ped Dum. What is your all-time favourite album? Man. Well, I've said this on here before. Music is part of your life. So it changed as I got into drumming. I've always been into music. I grew up in a house where there was always records being played and music being played. So I look at my favourite songs and my favourite music, like we all do, as being major parts in your life. Ali's just come on and said, "I'm sorry I'm late." I love it. Have you got a note, Ali? Don't just come on. If you haven't got a note for being late, then... what is your all-time favourite album? I have a selection, but I know you don't want a selection. You want one all-time favourite album, and I'm going to give you one all-time favourite album, but I'm going to explain why that is. I would say that it was Donald Fagen's Nightfly, was my all-time favourite album. And the reason why I think it was because I've been in, obviously by that stage I've been listening to music for a long time, a hell of a long time, but I think there was things that happened. I certainly know I was on the road touring at the time, and it was any pro musicians out there would understand, it was one of those tours which was really tough. There was a lot of politics going on, there's a lot of nonsense going on, and I think I sort of found that album. And if I remember rightly, I think I found it on I first came across it on a cassette. I had the vinyl. I don't think it was a CD. I think it was pre-CD. I could be completely wrong here, but I certainly remember listening to that in whatever form I listened to, and it was just such a great album, and it was so clean. The drums were clean. It was Jeff Porcaro on drums, and I was a fan of Steely Dan anyway, and Donald Fagen. So I think I'm going to go, and I still like to go back to that. And when I go back to that album, there's tracks on that album that I listen to that remind me of other things. There could be other ones I could say about the Police, which I think the Police had massive impacts on all of us. So you could talk about the Police, Boss Skaggs' Middleman, which I thought was a great album. Again, it's an album I still listen to. Love that album. But yeah, you want an album, that's your album. Okay, Donald Fagen, Nightfly. What's yours? What's your favourite album? Give me your favourite album. Okay. What's your favourite underrated or unknown drummer? Oh my God. Woo! Seriously? What is your favourite underrated or unknown drummer? Okay. Well, one of my favourite percussionists has just joined the house. And I think she's underrated as well, Joanna. So she's definitely underrated, and hopefully if we can get it all worked out, she's going to be performing in my room at the UK Drum Show. I think that there's a lot of, again, it's been something that's been really good for me this year during COVID, because I've had the opportunity to find people that I didn't know much about. Oh my goodness, I just had the name on the top of my tongue and now I've forgotten his name, which is so embarrassing, and I'm going to have to think about his name. I've had him on as a guest as well. So, okay, so that's, come on, what's his name? Okay, that's terrible. I'm going to have to come back to that name. It's going to come to me before the end of the show. I had a birthday this week, as I said, and so I've got old. I suddenly forgotten about that. But there is so many underrated drummers. Somebody once told me when I was about 16, 17 years old, it never made sense to me at the time. In fact, it was Bob Henry who played with Argent and played with Dave Clark and the Kinks and etc. And I worked in his drum shop as a Saturday boy. Bob still writes for my website to this day. And he said to me, the best drummers in the world are no longer drummers anymore. And it didn't make any sense to me at all. And it was years later that I realised that because other things come in their life, they get moved off or they can't earn a career, they can't earn money from being a drummer or whatever. So there's a lot of great semi-pro drummers out there that are, I guess, are underrated. But I will come to you with that drummer because I've forgotten his name. That's embarrassing, but I'm going to come to it. Right, who else we got? That's a good question, by the way. Yeah, so many. Hemispheres by Rush. Favourite album. Woo! Harvey drums. Throughout your amazing career, what is the one thing you would tell your younger self? Do you know what? What would I tell my younger self? Well, first of all, not to stress out as much as I did at the beginning. I think that I was worried, and it's hard. I mean, goodness knows what would happen if I was setting out now. But I think that question is probably very fit. Same question for a lot of people. I really used to when I wanted it so bad. I've talked about this on here before, but I was very fortunate from the age of about 14 years old to be working, you know, well. I was earning decent money, still at school. I lived in Brighton, and then I made the move to London after I'd been touring. I'd done quite a lot, but I decided I needed to make the move. I think I would have been about 19 years old at this stage, and I think it was a massive culture shock for me. I thought I was going to move into London and go, hey, hi everyone, I'm here now, okay, and it wasn't, and it took me a good 2 years, maybe 3 years to really start getting work. And that was very stressful. It was the hardest time of my life. I remember it being really tough for me. But I think, so going back to that question and hopefully put it in with some advice, is I think I worried too much. I worried about what people thought about me. And sometimes I still do, but now on a professional basis or in more than just a drumming thing. And I think now I'd go, just don't worry about that. You know, just work hard, put your head down and go for it. And I think that's just, it's like I said, that's the advice I'd give myself, but it's also the advice I'd give to everyone else. You know, don't worry about what people think about your social media posts or you know, just don't worry. Some people are going to like it and some aren't. And I know those that have watched this over and over again, I've gone on about it before, but I look at it as being, it's art, it's subjective. Some are going to get it, some aren't. Fine, move on. So probably that. Good question, Harvey. Okay. Oh my goodness, you're on fire tonight, you lot. Okay, let's go down here because I think we've got some more done. Okay, Chad 3C. Okay, so Chad 3C has said, what drummer has most influenced your playing style? No one. Playing style. Okay. Let me think about that question. That's, again, really, really good question. And it goes back to those famous sayings that you hear. When it's you learn as much as you possibly can, you study as much as you possibly can, and then you forget it. Because then you become yourself. Okay, and that is so important. I never wanted to copy anybody. I never wanted to be, I could never be Steve Gadd or Jeff Beccaro, or some of you have said Keith Moon or John Bonham or whoever they are, or Stuart Copeland. I couldn't be that drummer. So what's the point? And there is already that drummer, and they're doing a very, very good job at being that drummer. So I never felt I wanted to be that drummer. Again, maybe to coincide with the question before, maybe at the beginning I thought, oh, I need to be that drummer to work in sessions in London, or to be that drummer to be here. But I lost that pretty quickly and realised, I mean, so I've got a picture up here, again, I've talked about it before, and it's someone that you should all make sure you check out. I was fortunate enough to study with the great jazz drummer Kenny Clare, UK jazz drummer. Amazing drummer and an amazing person, and had a massive influence on me because he made me think about things in a completely different way. He made me think in a musical way instead of thinking about things rhythmically and as a drummer. He made me think about the sound that I was making on all my drums and my limbs. So I guess Kenny had a massive effect on me, but not necessarily sometimes just watching him play, but the way that he told me how to express things. So I've never really, like I said, I don't think I have a style of any drummer, to be fair. I don't think any of us should. I think you should find yourself and be contented and happy with that person. There's only one you as a human being, so that should be the same as a drummer. And if we're all the same and we all go for an audition, how are they going to pick one of us? They're going to go, I want the one with, you know, green hair and one eye because they look different. You know, that's not what we want. So again, go back to you, Chad 3C. Who is the drummer that influenced you the most? You might even want to answer that question now. I've just said that to you. Chad 3C has also said Keith Moon or John Bonham. Do you want to know something? Do you want to know something? I'm going to be honest here. I missed that. That time I just missed. And so I never really got into Keith Moon or John Bonham. Sorry, hands up, I never got into it. Now, did I like what John Bonham did with Led Zeppelin? Yes, because no one else came in and replaced it. John Bonham is the only drummer for Led Zeppelin. There's been lots of drummers for The Who, and you could say that there's been technically better drummers for The Who than Keith Moon. But I never really got into Keith Moon and John Bonham. I love the songs, but I never got into the those drummers. I think I probably, certainly more John Bonham over the years. I've understood a lot more that went on, and of course, you know, Bonham had the Purdy Shuffle down, so that's cool. Phil Collins, Harvey Drums. What do you think of Phil Collins? I love Phil Collins. I love Phil Collins. You want to listen to Phil Collins? His solo stuff is great anyway, but you want to go back and you listen to, obviously, Genesis, but go back and listen to Brand X, or go back and listen to some of the Tears for Fears, some of the session work that Phil Collins did. He never got real recognition from that, because as soon as he became the singer, I think people just associated him with that. But as a session drummer, he did so many great songs. So I mean, I loved Phil Collins for Brand X. I really did. And like I said, Tears for Fears. So like I said, I'm going to pick the best question, and there's lots of them, and the winner's going to get these Zildjian headphones. So let me see. How are we doing for time? Okay, right. Oh my goodness. Okay, Stix Harris. I'm going to tell you a story now. So Stix Harris has just asked, what age was Simon Phillips when he did Jesus Christ Superstar? Okay. Simon Phillips was either 16 or 17 years old. And I replaced Simon Phillips on his parts. Because when Jesus Christ Superstar first came out of London, they didn't go on tour back in the day. And Tim Rice put the show on in a cathedral, I want to say, or a big church somewhere down in Lancing. Let's get this right, which is where he went to college. And again, I was only young, or might have been 19. No, maybe younger than that, 18 maybe. But anyway, I was the first one to get his charts and get the parts, and they were absolute mess. And I remember one piece of music, honest truth, one piece of music, the title was across the top. I remember it being in 7, might have been 4 or 8, and then all it said, written in words across the paper, went, play the shit out of this. That was my transcription, that was my drum chart. But I think Simon was, like I said, 16 or 17. We shared a drum teacher, same drum teacher. Simon's dad had a band, and the drummer Max Abrahams played for the Sid Phillips band, and Simon studied with Max Abrahams, and I also studied with Max. Simon's maybe 4 years older than me. So good question. Okay, right, let's go. Hang on. Whew. Some of them come up, it's bizarre. When you read these on, some of them come up small writing. Okay, good. Yes, Jessica. Do you have a warm-up routine, and what does it consist of? Okay, that's a really good question. I do have a warm-up routine, and it consists of pretty much what I started doing today at the beginning of this. I warm up with singles and doubles. I'll show you my warm-up in a minute. I warm up with playing that. And the reason I warm up that kind of stuff is purely to get my fingers moving and my hands moving. And I also am very, very aware of trying to have soft hands. And what I mean by soft hands is really letting the stick move around in the hand, not gripping it. There's no gripping should be going on. You know, nice and relaxed. So I when I'm warming up, I really think about that, especially as I've got older. And I know it's not a sport, and I'm not trying to tell you it is, but you wouldn't go out for a run or push a heavy weight or whatever with a little bit of stretching. And so that's what you're trying to do. So instead of just going straight in and warming up and, you know, going for it, just really relaxed. And there's a couple of things. I mean, I change it around. So let me, let's put this back out there. Bear with me. Let me get my snare drum back. Okay. Let's change this. All for you, Jessica. Let's see if you can see this yet. Hang on. Lower. Oh my God, that's a bit scary. You get my face. Take that back over there. Right. Yes, good. Okay, and you got this on my YouTube video. So, I play traditional grip. I learned traditional grip, but I've always tried to practice more with my match grip than whatever. So with this, I'm going to play it traditional, but I'd also play it match. Okay. Now, what I'm going to try and do now as well is, because you're watching this in reverse on Instagram, I'm going to try and play it as though it's the right hand. Okay. So obviously this is my left hand. So I like to do normally 4 power diddles, power diddle, power diddle, power diddle, power diddle, 4 doubles, power diddle, sorry, double, double, power diddle, double, double, power, double, double, power diddle, 4 triples, double, 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 and back. So it's 4 power diddles, 4 doubles, 4 triples, starting with my left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I do it both hands as well. It's no good just working on everything on your strong hand. So. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to play it match grip. I'm going to try and do it a little bit faster, but this time, okay, let me see if I can do this. Okay, so this time, here we go, look. Let me chuck my hi-hat over here. Okay, I'm going to play, so obviously this would normally be my bass drum, but I'm going to play the single stroke, dagga, babba, dagga, 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 double, da, 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 triple. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, power diddle, double, triple, double, parallel, double, triple, double, single. The other way round. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I do that. That would be something I do. I did it at the beginning. I'd do things like this where I play doubles, overlapping them, and then match grip. Okay, what I'm also trying to do is I move my finger. So sometimes I grip the stick there, and sometimes I grip it there. I don't move the stick, keep the stick in the same place, I just move the grip. So with my finger on the front, next one, and I'm doing it with both hands. Okay, and you can actually, it's harder, but you can actually go all the way down to the third finger. I'm sure you've seen this before. Double. The stick's not changing its place, it's just the balancing point's moving. Hope that answers your question. Okay, right, now I've got to remove the whole of the drum kit back to place. Okay, let's get this out here. This is my little silent kit that I use sometimes for teaching or for warming up. It's chaos. It's kicking off. Okay, come back. Right, let's see what else I got in here. God, I'm going to struggle thinking about what the winner's going to be here. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Good question, Jessica. What do you like to warm up with anyway? Now, let's have a look. Oh, Sour Kicks. If you don't know this band, everybody, go and check them out. Sour Kicks. What has been your most emotional live chat so far? There's two, probably. Is there two? Yeah, there's probably two. And I think that we've all got used to what's been going on. Sorry, it's in the wrong place for YouTube. Over the period of the 13 months. But Chris Coleman, actually there's three, but Chris Coleman, by the way, sorry to come back, I think it was, I can't remember who asked me about my drummer that I really have got into this year. It's Joel Barford. Did a live chat with him just before Christmas. Great drummer. Go and check his social media out. Anyway, yeah, Chris Coleman and Chris Johnson, because I did a chat with them around the Black Lives Matter campaign, and more than anything else, it wasn't a political issue. It was because they were hurting. They were hurting. They'd witnessed stuff. They'd seen stuff. I think it had a massive impact there, and it was painful because I could see the pain in their eyes. So that was quite tough, emotional. Robin Guy, because he's been fighting with cancer for the last 2 or 3 years at the moment. Touch wood, he's all clear. So there's been several. I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe you could think of some that have been quite tough. I mean, what's been your most emotional live chat? I think everyone, I'd like to think that we've touched on some serious matters as well. And I think that's what's been so good about the live chats, that you've had a chance now to see the real person. Dave Weckl, I think Dave was excellent, and Dave was so honest about his growing up and how hard it was for him to grow up. And I think that's important, that, again, that we all have got to see the real person behind those great drummers. But yeah, what do you think? What's your favourite one? Or a few of you come in and tell me who your favourite ones are. I'm sure I've got a few Glenn Powell script fans in here as well, but I might have some Matt Helders from Arctic Monkeys. But let me know who your favourite ones are. Okay. Okay, let's. Hey man, let's talk about. Oh, hang on, it's so difficult. Some of them are so. Okay, I'm gonna get mics up, but it's difficult to read them. I'm on the stick hunt this COVID lockdown, sizzling down for me. How important do you feel? Do you feel find? Hang on, I've got to get the rest of the question back here. How do you feel and find? It's terrible that finding the correct drumsticks. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry. It always disappears the last bit of the question. Okay, so drumsticks. I think I've had this conversation with you, Mike, and you bought a couple of pairs of my sticks, which I sent out to LA. In fact, I think they went out there twice because they returned at one stage. So I used the SD4 combo. I've gone through that stage of changing stick. I went all the way up to 2B, and there was a stick once upon a time called the Super Soul, which was a big, chunky stick, because I used to break sticks. And then I realised I wasn't playing correctly, to be fair. And I realised, and I looked into this in a lot more detail, and again, I apologise for those that have watched this and heard me talk about this before, but I was very fortunate, and I felt honoured to have Vic Firth as a friend. And Vic talked to me about, everyone's hand is different. The stick has to fit your hand. That's the important part. And you have to find and adapt maybe your playing or the stick to that. Now there is so many options. So you could actually get, so let's just say I liked this stick in my hand. I've got a little hand, it feels nice, etc., etc. But I keep breaking them. Let's just say I'm doing this. Well, at the moment, this is the SD4. So this is a maple wood, which is a light wood, but it's got more water content in it, so they can make a reasonably thick stick but lighter. You could go into an HD4, okay, which is a hickory stick, and hickory is a heavier wood, but it also is going to be thicker. Or you can go something that's got a little bit of a thicker taper at the top here. You know, they're now doing the 5As and the 5Bs and the extremes and etc., etc. So I think that you need to find the stick that fits in your hand. Now, with that in mind, another thing that's happened to me in the last 12 months is I've changed my stick. Now, saying that, I haven't had a gig for 13 months, obviously. I've been teaching, etc., etc. But I love the way that the AJ6 works. Now, the stick is the same thickness as my stick already. It's a tad smaller, not a lot, but just a little bit, as you can probably see. But look at the taper. The taper is much bigger. Now, I don't break sticks anymore because I never put any weight onto that part of the stick. I'm always putting the weight into this part of the stick if I need it. And then I've got this really nice tip that I love the sound of. So I've adapted at the moment to the AJ6. Now I have to say, if I go, and the point is, it's the same thickness in my hand. It's the same thickness, it's the same weight in my hand. So when I go back out and gigging, I might go, you know, I keep snapping that stick, so I'm not gonna do that. And I don't care who you are or what situation you're in. Most people have to buy their drumsticks. Okay, even on big tours, there's you may not actually personally have to buy it out your pocket, but sticks have to be brought for those tours. Mike, you know this, and so the last thing you need to be doing is that if you're doing a gig in a wedding gig, and I don't know, you're getting $200 and you've just broken three sticks. Your money's just gone down. So you know, make sure that you can find a stick, maybe change your style, but a stick that fits your hands. Really, really important. And now I feel it's like a pair of good trainers or something. Now this stick it's just comfortable. It's constantly comfortable. Again, going back to a question that Jessica asked about warming up. Again, something I've discussed before. I hold my sticks all the time. I just sit there and I hold them. Because again, my old drum teacher Kenny Clare used to say, the more you hold your sticks, the more you find the perfect place for those sticks to be. And it's the same for the weight and the thickness. You know, if these sticks are too heavy, I've got a pair, they don't make this stick anymore, but I've got a pair of titaniums here, which I would say is about, it's a Vic Firth stick, and I would say it's about probably a 5A extreme, maybe a 5B. But these are heavy sticks, okay? But you've got to find what you like. It has to be what you like. Like I said, you take two drummers, Jojo Mayer and Thomas Lane. Thomas Lane has got a huge baseball of a stick that works perfectly for Thomas Lane, but Thomas Lane's got the hands of, you know, I don't know, big hands, and Jojo Mayer's got the smallest stick. It's shorter, it's thinner, and Jojo's got little hands. So those sticks work for those people. I hope that helps you, Mike. Okay, right. Shall I keep going or what? If you could, okay. I'm going to come back to those questions because that's questions about. Chad 3C. Your thoughts on double kick drum pedals and would you use one? Yes, I've done it. Got that one. That ship sailed. I've still got it. DW 9000. Used it for, I don't know, 10 years. Only ever really used it for, just because of my musical style, I only ever used it really for little flourishes, little fills, etc., etc. I never really used it for, you know, fast rock double bass drum because I didn't do that sort of stuff. So yeah, I just started, you know what, I started relying on it too much, and I liked the kit. I didn't like the way that I sat at the drum kit after a while as well. I like the hi-hats to be tucked in. I've got little legs. I like the kit to be tucked in. a little bit more, and I found that bass drum caused me a pain. And yes, you could put it on the left hand side. So I gradually took it out, but I probably did the double bass drum thing for 15 years. It's great books that I've worked on with it. Did all the things that everyone says you should do, but I just didn't really, and certainly now I don't really, I don't use it. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just in my lockup. Pull it out, put it back on the kit. But I didn't like the kit setup. But there's no reason why you shouldn't work on that. Here's a good tip as well. Don't forget, double bass drum playing is different to left foot on the hi-hat. When you're playing your hi-hat, your foot is down on the pedal most of the time, because obviously that's normally your balance as well. And when you hit the cymbals, when you're playing a double bass drum left foot or whatever, it's got to be up. It's a different motion. So that also, you've got to practice that. You know, the left foot is down when you're playing the hi-hat, but it'll be up when you're playing it on the bass drum. You don't want the bass drum beater to be resting on the pedal all the time. So it's a completely different motion. It's a different skill set. Okay, so exercises that you do when you're practicing hi-hat, for example, you know, you might be going doom chicka chicka boom chicka chicka boom. It's a completely different motion to okay. So remember that. Okay, good. Okay, so you could. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this because I ask all my drummer questions this. Who are your top 5 drummers and why? Okay, so I'm going to rephrase that question if you don't mind, because I asked my drum guests this question. Which 5 drummers would you like around your house for dinner? Actually, I don't want any of them around my house for dinner. But I've been very, very fortunate and lucky to spend a lot of time with a lot of drummers. And sit around the table and have fun. And I have to say, a lot of them are my friends, and whenever you're with your friends, which if we can remember that, and spend time with your friends, you know, they're your inner circle. They're people that you want to spend time with, you want to have a laugh, they make you feel good, you can relax, you don't have to worry about what you say, etc, etc. So I've been really, really fortunate that a lot of my drummers, people are those people, okay? They can let their guard down, etc, etc. So, but the 5 drummers, if I had to pick 5 drummers I would like around the table for dinner and pick their brains, it would have to be Louis Belson, just to ask him what it was like back in the day, back in the 50s, when he was touring and being married to, Louis Belson is a white drummer, being married to Pearl Bailey, who was a black singer, what it was like with all those issues that he must have had to deal with. Forget music, that's even before he got to the music. And I met Louis a couple of times before he died, and he seemed a really, really sweet guy, and the stories I've heard were great. So I think Louis Belson would have been great to sit down and have around the dinner table. I think I would have liked to talk to Alvin Jones. Again, I got to see Alvin a few times. But I would like to sit down with Alvin and again ask him stories back in the day, what it was like, etc, etc. I think drummers that I've not met that I would like to meet still, just because I've heard so many great things about those people, would be Dave Grohl. You know, every time I hear stories, everyone's got a lot of time for Dave Grohl, so he's a great person. So I think Dave Grohl would be nice. Dave Grohl, Alvin, Louis Belson. I think those 3 for a start. But like I said, because of so many other stories that I would like to know. Like I said, I'd love to know what it was like to be on the road for Louis. I've not met properly Ringo Starr. And again, I'd love, you know, we've had Greg on here, this and that, and Greg's told me great stories about Ringo, etc, etc. And I mean, Greg's once told me when he first played with Ringo, he was left in the room at one stage, and Ringo knew he was a big fan, and apparently it was just like a deadly silence. And then Ringo turned to Greg and he went, "Okay, one question. You can have one question," because he knew Greg wanted to ask him a question. So Ringo would have to be, because again, what those people, what they went through back in those days. I mean, I find that's fascinating. So I've got 4 there, and I'd have to throw in, although I had many dinners and many downtime with this gentleman, I miss him to this day just because of his honesty and what he did, and that would be Vic Firth. I mean, you know, I used to turn to Vic for advice, so I think Vic would have to be there. Okay, right, I hope that answered all your questions. I'm going to tell you my guests this week. You want to know? So I've got 2 guests this week, so I'm back at it this week. So we've got 2 guests. Tomorrow night we're going to do another rooms. For those that haven't joined me for rooms yet, that means we can have 2 or 3 guests in at the same time, which is always a bit scary because I never know how it is. One of the guests I've already had on here, okay? So, but tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, so that's the 20th, Wednesday the 20th of April, if you're watching this later, at 7 o'clock I've got the Dromio crew, okay? So it should be great. So Gerard's coming on, Dave's coming on. Doesn't get much attention, I don't think, so Dave needs to come up here and talk. I've actually had Gerard on before. He was at the beginning. And then Gabs, who runs the Dromio Gabs podcast. So we've got all 3 of them on here tomorrow, hopefully. We'll see what happens, and that's going to be a rooms. So that's on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Then the 21st at 7 o'clock, we've got a little bit of rock and roll. And Craig Reynolds is coming to join me on Wednesday night. Great British drummer. Great, you know, what he's done recently as well over the last 6 months, if anyone's been following him, he's created something out of this mess that we're all in when we can't tour. And he's done some amazing things. So Craig Reynolds, had him at the UK Drum Show the other day. So that's going to be good. So Craig's in tomorrow. So I'm going to come and pick a winner. I'm going to go back over my questions, so bear with me, and I'm going to give a winner. I've got to pick a winner. So I think I'm going to go for... Okay, so bear with me a second. Bear with. Oh, look, there's still loads of questions here as well. I think I liked... I'm looking for the question. Okay, hang on. Sorry, everybody. I think I like Harvey Drums, which was throughout your amazing career. So, Harvey, you get to win today. So, Harvey, if you could DM me your address that I can send these to, and I will get them in the post. And so you get to win these Zildjian professional in-ear monitoring. Okay, so send me that. That's it for tonight. Thank you. I hope everything was okay. Not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to do one next week, but I will hopefully have a guest for you next week as well. And then I'll be quiet for a while or a couple of weeks. This week, 2 guests tomorrow night and Wednesday night. Tomorrow night, Dromio, the rooms. So there'll be 3 people there: Gerard, Dave, and Gabs. And then on Wednesday night, Craig Reynolds. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for supporting me. Look after yourself. Have a good evening. You know all the rules. You know, be kind to yourself. Check in with others, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.